Hey there, everybody. Paul Elam here with a Voice for Men and paulelam.com. And I am talking today about ICMIs, past, present, and future. And I'm with Mike Buchanan and Chris Vody. Let me just introduce Mike first. Mike is the founder of Justice for Men and Boys and the Women Who Love Them, the only political party for men and focusing on men's issues in the England, took over the reins of ICMI in 2016 with a conference in London, has been doing them ever since. And I guess I just want to start with that and talk about the history of ICMI, why you got involved, what you saw were the possibilities, and sort of what's transpired in all that time, because we've had a few conferences under our belt since you started.
Indeed. Well, the great inspiration, Paul, was the one you held in Detroit in 2014. That was just one of the most extraordinary experiences of my life. I put that up there with the birth of my kids, to be honest with you. It was the first time, I guess, that people had done that a conference with those kinds of speakers and a serious audience had all come together. And you'll remember from Detroit, and it's been true of all the conferences since, the in-person ones up to Chicago 2 years ago, that people were just walking around in a daze, smiling. You know, they were in a bubble where men aren't hated or despised, or and it's a fantastic. The atmosphere of an in-person ICMI is the most extraordinary thing, and we're doing all we can to try and replicate that in this coming conference, which will be highly interactive. And I think people are really going to enjoy it.
You know, I remember back in 14 very clearly, Steve Brule caught a lot of footage there of different people. And I remember a short interview piece with Anil Kumar, one of our MRA friends from India. And he talked about having been up all people, running on absolutely no sleep. And still just totally invigorated throughout the whole process. And I remember it well. It was like that. There was a very magical moment. And I can understand why it would inspire anybody. It's amazing what happens when you get men together and then don't shame them. There's all kinds of positives that happen in that. But you've done a great job with these conferences since then, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you. I had no hand in Chicago or the Australian one, but both of those were very good as well. I mean, I think each ICMI has been better than the last, quite frankly.
I would say so. They've certainly been wonderful. And of course, now we're in a sort of different chapter, even of human history here. We have the COVID hysteria everybody is dealing with. Nobody can travel, or most people can't travel. Some people don't want to travel. Travel is getting incredibly expensive, Mr. President, for that. He does deserve honorable mention, at least in my opinion. But here we are now taking ICMIs into the virtual world. And this is where Chris Vody comes in, who I'm going to introduce now. Chris is a writer and editor, an advocate for men's issues. He did the formatting for my book, Men, Women, Relationships, which I really appreciated. Did a fantastic job on that. And he's always been involved in men's issues for as long as I can remember knowing him. Much more prominently recently, as he's been given the responsibility for future ICMIs in North America. So no pressure, Chris. Just want to toss it your way. And what do we have going on now with ICMI?
Well, I first want to say thank you to you both for the pressure that every ICMI is better than the previous one. Not that I need that on my shoulders. I have enough to worry about.
No sweat.
Well, I want to first thank Mike Buchanan, because earlier this year, he reached out to me and asked me to be a part of ICMI. And, you know, we have developed a very fast friendship, and it's been a privilege to work on ICMI this year. He has also asked me to coordinate all future ICMIs in North America. So now I'm the guy you have to kiss up to. So I'll talk about the future of ICMI in just a moment, but I'm going to talk about this year's ICMI 2020. We did them on YouTube, entirely virtual. This year we're going to do them virtual, but the first time we're mentioning this, we're going to be using the Whova platform. The Whova platform is designed for conferences. Now, it's actually designed for in-person and virtual conferences to work together. But we're only using the virtual component. But let me tell you, there is a lot more available to you attendees than doing it on YouTube. There's going to be a community that we can build on top of the men's movement. There'll be opportunities to reach out to each other, just as if you're in an in-person conference. Hey, you see Paul walking down, you'd be like, hey, let's go up to Paul and talk to him. And Paul pushing the elevator button, like, come on, they're almost here.
No, I love it, man. I love it. I love talking to guys at conferences.
So we're trying to capture that experience as much as we can. So when you log in, you'll be able to see all of the communities. You'll be able to ask us to do, but most importantly, you're going to get access to talks, interviews, presentations, and most importantly, live Q&As. And what this will be is on the days of the conference itself, we're going to have speakers come in and you will be able to ask questions to them. Now, you can ask questions in one of two ways. One, when their presentation is on or their interview is on, you can leave a question right then and there. We'll try to pick that up and ask that person. And the second way you can ask a question is while it's going on, you can click on the Q&A button and ask a question. But this will be tantamount to going to a panel and then there being microphones set up and you can walk up to the microphone and ask a question that way. Now, obviously, it's better to actually go to a conference and, use your voice and communicate with the speakers and the organizers. But considering that in-person right now, this is the next best thing. And I've been most impressed with this software. Our goal with this is to really bring in the community. That was kind of the problem with the videos last year doing it on YouTube is that, yeah, you were able to post comments and all of that, but there really wasn't any interaction between the speaker and the attendees. And this year we're going to try to capture that. And just real brief, I turn this over to Paul again. Like I said, Mike made me the host for all ICMIs in North America starting next year. And I will tell you, I really pushed hard for a conference next year. I mean, the contract was just about signed. I mean, they just kind of handed me the pen. I was about to sign it, figuratively, of course. But I had to walk away from it. The economy of America right now is not that great. We're almost up to $4 a gallon of gas. And it hasn't been this bad since almost a decade ago. And my fear was that I felt like we could break even on everything, but that kind of a conference would be more of a meetup. It wouldn't really capture the spirit of what ICMI has been in the past. So I made the very tough decision for another year. But my goal with ICMIs in the future, and this is something I've talked to both Paul and Mike about a lot, is we want to be out there. We want to be there amongst the people. Now, for obvious reasons, we've kind of dialed it back a little bit because we don't want feminists at our conferences protesting us. We want to do what we want in peace. But the problem with that, we're not saying, hey, here we are. This is who we are, and this is what we're trying to accomplish. So my goals with the future of ICMI is to really bring us back out there. But additionally, we need culture. And we have a lot of great people out there who are speaking, who are talking, who are trying to raise awareness. But one of the things that we lack is having culture. You know, one of the ideas I've been toying around with is there's a lot of people in our movement that play musical instruments. Let's bring them together and kind of have a makeshift little concert where people are just playing the songs that they enjoy. But, you know, there are plenty of artists out there. There are plenty of writers out there. There's musicians, as I mentioned. And there's a whole host of other people who are interested in a variety of things. Let's all bring that to the men's movement and not just be people who talk about the issues, but people that live. So that is the future of ICMI.
Sounds good to me.
And of course, one of those people playing some music could be Paul.
It's quite possible. I might be willing to, I tell you what, I'll take the stage with my guitar if you guys will pass out the tomatoes.
And we're looking forward, from the conversation we had before this, we're looking forward to you doing some cover versions of Pink Floyd on your guitar. That should be something special.
It'll be a part of the That's one word for it.
Okay, shall I talk about the scope of the conference then?
Yeah.
I'd ask viewers to be tolerant to me having to refer to notes, but there's a lot of content, and I want to make sure that that I relate enough of it. We have about 70 speakers at this conference. Now, most of them won't be or aren't providing presentation videos, but they're being interviewed by a couple of people in general. And the conference is going to be held over 6 days from starting at 10 a.m. GMT on Monday, the 13th of December, with sessions on the hour, every hour for a little more than 6 days, 146 hours to be total, to be exact, ending at midday GMT on Sunday, the 19th of December. And the general format is that there'll be a pre-recorded video with an interview or presentation, followed by a live Q&A. We have 3 teams, which will each be working 8 hours a day for those 6 days. One team covering North America, that's Chris Voti and Vernon Meigs. One covering Australasia, that's Robert Brockway and Natalie Powell. And the team covering the UK and Europe is myself and a number of different co-hosts over the 6 days. To give you a flavor of the numbers and of the types of speakers and interviewees, well, Janice is the keynote speaker with a very topical talk titled "COVID-19 is a Men's Issue." A very interesting talk, as you'd expect with Janice. Now, just about all the speakers have live Q&As. They include Warren Farrell, a number of academics, several MPs, British MPs, and an Australian MP, and a former British cabinet minister. We're about to interview Will Noland, a very interesting guy, father of 6, and he was fired. He was a teacher at Eton College, probably the most prestigious public school, as we call them. I think you might call them private schools in North America. But the most famous, certainly most famous all boys school for the elite in the country. 2 of our last 3 prime ministers have been Eton educated. That's David Cameron and Boris Johnson, and they've probably educated half the prime ministers in the last couple of 100 years. Well, his thought crime was to put up a video challenging feminist patriarchy theory. And the extremely woke headmaster, who's a man, shamefully, ordered him to take it down. He said he would if a good explanation was given as to why he should. That explanation, of course, was not forthcoming, since it would have been impossible. So he was fired. We also have Greg Ellis, a Hollywood actor torn apart by the family courts in California, after which he wrote the amazing book, The Respondent. We have the world premiere of an amazing documentary by the award-winning documentary maker Hannah Gall, titled Progressivism is Destroying Civilization. I only watched the first draft of that today, and it is something that people are going to be very impressed. We have to charge for tickets for this coming conference because we have to cover costs, particularly the cost of the conference platform from Hoover, which, after a lot of research, we believe to be the best online conference software available in the world today. Tickets go on sale noon next Saturday. That's the 27th, noon GMT next Saturday, the 27th of November. They're priced at £20 or the equivalent in your local currency. And videos of the presentations, interviews, and the live Q&A sessions will remain on the website for 6 months. Now, the content, I mean, all those videos will later be posted on Paul's An Ear for Men YouTube channel and the Justice for Men and Boys YouTube channel, probably in February or March. And finally, I should just say that that we're planning to have another conference, another online conference next year in November. And I'd like to thank Chris and his colleague Vernon Meigs for all the amazing work they put into setting up the conference platform for this year's event. Due to all their hard work, I'm sure it's going to just run really smoothly, and it's going to be a a wonderful event. I just have no doubt about that at all. And I think that's the end of my ramble. It's going to be a great event. I'm sorry, Paul.
I'm sure. Just a quick question to help people understand. As I understand it, the Hoover platform, which you're going to be using for the conference, is not exactly cheap. It's a pretty expensive platform. I just want to make sure people are aware of that when you're selling tickets, part of what you're paying for with buying a ticket to this is precisely what Chris was talking about a few minutes ago, talking about getting us more organized and out there together. It's this kind of technology that can help do that. And so your contribution doesn't just get you into all the great talks and interviews and Q&As and everything else that's with it. You're actually continue carrying this message to other men. And I don't think that should be lost. It's pennies on the dollar, folks. So for the few of you who always complain about having to pay something, get out your plastic. You're going to have to pay this time. No, that's glad you did.
Thank you, Paul. No, that's a very good point. I mean, I organized 2 conferences in London. One made a small profit, one made a small loss. People do not make, income. Organizers do not make income from conferences. I mean, that's full stop. I mean, anybody who goes into this for the money should be put in a padded cell until they feel better. That's all I can say.
At any rate, I just wanted to make that point that this is from the beginning. There's nothing about men's issues that's profitable. Women's issues are profitable, and they're handsomely profitable. That's why you have so many well-heeled industries around women's issues that just thrive in good economies, bad economies, whatever. With men, nobody cares to start with except a precious few of us. But we do have to try to build a technological platform for the future with this. It's just critical. You're way behind the times if you're not doing that. I guarantee you feminists are doing it. So at any rate, there's an explanation of why the small entry fee to this conference is totally justified.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Well, I do want to add that after this video, stay tuned because we're going to have 2 additional presentations that shows the Hoover interface. And I'll be honest with you, when I first saw the Hoover interface, I was like, whoa, this is big, this is massive. I can't wrap my head around it. Took me a little bit. You know, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science, and Vernon is a programmer. We both understand it, and it was a daunting task. So our videos, we hope, will be a very good introduction for you to navigate a little bit easier. We just show some of the main areas that you're going to want to focus on. But the Whova app is so great, they actually have a help section that was by former attendees to their events. Not their experts, not their organizers, but the people who attended them. They sought them out and said, hey, can you give a tutorial on how to use this feature? So that is also available to you beyond our videos. But like we say in the video, there's a section called Ask Organizers Anything. Find that, post a question there, and we will do our best to help you.
I think attendees are going to find it pretty user-friendly, Chris. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Once you get over the complication of it, all the things that you can do with it, it is a fairly easy thing to do. It's pretty straightforward. You just go to agenda, you look at your session. Hey, Paul Elam is speaking. Let's go ahead and click on that and watch. Oh, I love this part. Let me type it into the chat. Oh, I have a question for him. And we're also going to just have communities where you don't even need to watch videos. Just, hey, there's a cigar club. Hey, I love this cigar. Who else loves it?
And people, I don't know if you said earlier, Chris, but people are going to be able to start their own chat rooms to message speakers and other attendees. The interactivity is just it's amazing. It is just absolutely amazing. And I don't know if that's a wrap.
It would seem to be.
Okay, thank you guys.
Take care now.
Hello, and welcome to the International Conference on Men's Issues 2021. Like last year, this is entirely a virtual event, but this year we're using the Whova interface. Now, this is a screen you're going to see after you purchase your ticket. Now, you don't actually have an account just yet, so we need to go through the sign-up process. Now, it's important when you enter your email address, you use the same one that you used when you bought your ticket. Now, we'll click Sign Up, click Continue. Now, another thing it's going to tell you is that you can watch this on the mobile event. Now, in my opinion, it's better to watch it through the web browser, but that's completely up to you. Now, I'm going to enter in event. This is the Whova interface. Now, some of the things you see here are still in the development phase, so they may be different when you actually log in, such as this banner right here for November when the conference is in December. Now, the first thing I want you to focus on is up here at top. Right now, it reads as 12:31 a.m. I'm going to switch to my local time in Arizona, which is now 5:30 p.m. First thing I want to go to is agenda. Now, this is the schedule that we're going to see all of our talk right here. Now, you'll notice that some of these have these sort of labels here. And how we can use that to our advantage is that we have a whole list of tracks that we can go ahead and click on. Now, they're all on by default. Go ahead and click the tracks button here, and if I want to see something specific, say on abortion, I can see all of those that are listed, but it is listed by days, so you'll have to go through each day to see them. Now, if there's any particular ones that you want to keep track of, we'll go ahead and click Add to My Agenda here. You can put it on the calendars if you want, and then when you go to My Agenda, it's going to be listed there. Now we're going to jump into a live Q&A demonstration, and we basically get two options. We can either launch a Zoom window that's just specifically Zoom, or the Whova interface. Now, for the sake of example, I'm just going to click on Join in Whova. Now, I'm not going to connect my audio, but as you can see, it's me. I'm using a different browser to make all of this happen. Now, when we're in the Zoom interface, this is going to be for live Q&As. We have question and answers. I can go ahead and type in a question, and then on my side, I'll be able to see that question. And then I can go ahead and answer it. And then I can also keep a track of what are my specific questions or what everyone else is asking. Now, you do see a chat function over here, and this over here is the Whova interface. But we also see a chat function inside Zoom. These do not interconnect with each other at all. So, what you type in here will not appear in here, and what you type in here will not appear in here. I know it's a little confusing, but trust me on that. Another thing I'm going to want to show you is coming to just a regular presentation. Now, you'll notice that the Q&A is right here, along with polls, chat, and community. As we can see, Mike Buchanan has left a little message on his own little thing, but this is going to remain here during the duration of the conference. We also have Q&A questions, and I encourage you to go ahead and post Q&A questions here, because we will take these questions when we do Mike Buchanan's live Q&A and ask those questions there, or ask questions from Zoom webinar. The other location I'm going to want you to look at is community. When you first get into it, it's just going to have a couple of things here. We're going to go ahead and skip this for right now. But as you can see, we have already created a lot of things. We're going to restart all of this, but we want to just kind of show you what it's all about. So like we got Cigar Club, we got pretty much anything. Now you can go ahead and create new topics if you want to, or just go ahead and post in them. Now, if you have any questions about anything going on, this is the best place to do it. Ask organizers anything. We will be monitoring this, so you ask a question, we will try to answer it to the best of our ability. The last thing I want to show you is messages. Now, as you start to do this, you may get people contacting you, and the best way to contact people is in attendees, such as Aaron Aronson. This is also a dummy account I created. I can go ahead and say hi to Aaron, and it's going to send him a message, and then he can choose to respond back to me. Now, once the tickets go live, this is going to be filled with a lot of attendees, so you're going to see a lot of people inside here. Now, there's a lot more to Whova, but this is the most basic stuff you need to know, and most of your time you're going to be spent in the sessions, watching presentations, interviews, and the live Q&As. And like I said before, if you do have any questions when you come in here, anything that you're confused about, go to Community and select Ask Organizers Anything and type your message here.
Hello, and welcome to the International Conference for Men's Issues 2021. My name is Vernon Meigs. I am an organizer and co-host for North America for ICMI alongside Chris Vody. Now, Chris Vody's got his own video to demonstrate the web app version of Whova, where we'll be hosting our conference on, but this is a walkthrough and demonstration for Whova's mobile app. Now, to get started, of course, is to download the Whova app. You can find that in the Google Play Store. Now, you've either bought a ticket or you're an actual speaker for this event, but in any case, you will have to log in and get yourself set up here. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I am going to use a dummy account, a dummy user that goes by the name of Flying Squirrel. I'm going to be using his dummy email address. This is not real. This is where you will establish your password, of course. And once we've cleared through that, we have our International Conference on Men's Issues readily available. On the mobile app, this is the place where you should default to. For the purpose of this video, we are going to be looking at the Agenda tab, and in particular, we'd like to look at the webinar functionality as well for the mobile app. And we'll look at the Community tab also. All right, once we click on Agenda, that's the second from the left on the bottom, we will come to the full agenda. This is the place where all the sessions, that is the interviews, the pre-recorded interviews and the pre-recorded presentations and the scheduled live Q&As will be visible. Now, one thing you should note is that some of these may look different than it's actually going to appear on during the actual week of the conference. That's something that we are working on behind the scenes here. This is just the current format that we have gone for the purpose of this demonstration. So this might look different. One thing to look at is My Agenda. So far, Flying Squirrel has nothing added, so we can go ahead and add one if you'd like. All you have to do is add to the agenda. Then go back to My Agenda, and we've got Robert Brockway's talk here. One thing we'd like to look at is the webinar functionality. Once you've selected the session that you want that has the webinar you want to attend, all you have to do is go to live stream under virtual access. This is what the webinar should look like for the mobile user. And of course, below you can see things like the chat functionality. You can raise your hand, and there is also the Q&A session in which the host or hosts can look at any kind of questions you may have. Sometimes the question will be answered live, or sometimes it could be answered right here in text. That is, of course, up to the hosts, and depending on what kind of question they get, they can also dismiss some questions. You also have the option to ask a question anonymously or not. Now, if you click on the Community tab, the first thing that you might come across is this icebreaker. You can post it if you'd like, but I am just going to go ahead and skip it for now. Now you're here at the Community page. When you come in here, you might see all kinds of things already posted under All Topics. To participate in the United States of America thread here, the United States of America topic rather. Now I can already see that Chris has broken the ice for this particular topic, so let's just put in a random state. Let's just say one I've never been into, Utah or something. And now you're following this conversation. You can unfollow it, refollow it, as you please. Now, of course, you can add your own topic. And there you have your topic initiated and ready to go. Finally, we'd like to quickly look at some attendee interaction here. Let's try demonstrating sending a message to one of the speakers or organizers, namely myself. Now say Flying Squirrel wants to message me. And so my account should just now have a message from Flying Squirrel saying hello world. Now if you back out of here, go to your messages tab, you should see a message, a response right back from me. I've kept this thing pretty simple, but I hope it has been of some use to you. Enjoy the conference.